Welcome to episode 63, Finding a Deal in Real Estate. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Maloney. Thanks for joining me this week. This week I want to talk to you about finding a deal in real estate. Where to find the deals, how to find the deals, when to find the deals, and the fact that there's always a deal to be had. It's just about looking in the right places. So right now we got COVID-19 going on, lots of people hunkering down, lots of people losing jobs, all different negative things in the marketplace. But what does this mean overall for the investor? Well, what this means is you need to be smarter than ever, but there's going to be deals out there, and we want to know where to find them, when to find them, and how to find them. And then when we do find them, what are we going to do with them? How are we going to make it work? So this whole entire podcast, I'm going to go over all the ins and outs and what you need to know. First, let's talk about OffMLS. MLS is the multiple listing services. That's the place where we list the properties for sale, majority of them through real estate companies. A place where we all share information and we get the information and put it out to the clients. The reason OffMLS has always been such a good deal is less exposure. There's less bidders on the entire property. But as we become more and more into what seems to be heading towards more of a buyer's market, that MLS thing is not going to matter as much. But during real high market times, finding those off MLS, those yet to be listed properties, is a great way to find a deal. Knocking on doors, going out and looking through public record, finding out who has actual equity in their home and who owes a lot, watching things like Zillow and seeing where people are in pre-foreclosure and offering them money, paying attention to rundown houses in the neighborhood and getting up there and knocking on those doors. Those are places you're going to find the real deals. Lots of real estate agents can't really help you there unless you're willing to sign an exclusive buyer agency agreement where you pay the agent a certain amount that you've guaranteed them, sometimes high, sometimes low, but the amount that you pay them versus the amount that they earn you in extra savings on the fact that they found you a deal probably is worth it. So you can talk to real estate agents about it, but do realize the majority of the time, if you don't tell a real estate agent to look off MLS and you're not offering them compensation, it's really hard for them to do it because they cannot work for free. So keep in mind, to find the real deals, you want to get yourself a buyer's agent that you're willing to pay out of pocket, even if the listing isn't willing to pay. And then they can show you the for sale by owners, the pocket listings, the construction, the foreclosures, a lot of the different stuff that isn't yet on MLS. They can knock doors for you. They can do a lot of that. Next, let's talk about foreclosures and REO. This is kind of a funny category because everybody comes to us and they see these online websites that say, oh, foreclosure list here, exclusive foreclosures, find out about REOs first, all these different things. But the reality is most of them don't ever go that way. They mostly, because they're government owned, they go through the process, they get posted in the paper, they end up in an auction. Highest and best bidder gets them. You can get outbid all the way till the end, and they're really difficult to deal with. That said, as foreclosures stack up and REOs stack up in certain areas, right now we do not have a ton here in South Shore, Massachusetts, but as they do stack up, then there become some real deals because the banks have so much to hang on to that they just start needing to offload. So right now, foreclosure and REO is a slow game up here in Massachusetts, but it is still a place where if you have cash or you have the right construction loans or rehab loans, you can make these purchases. Do remember, though, if you're going to look in foreclosure or REO, cash is king and having money is very important. And also that your standard pre-approval does not count. So finding a deal in foreclosures and REO is only okay if your pre-approval and your cash funding is ready for that as-is condition property, because all foreclosures and REOs are sold as is, which means you take what you get. You can do a home inspection, but there is really no negotiation most of the time on them fixing things. If there is any negotiation, it may be monetary, but most of the time it's buyer beware, buy it for what it is. Next, let's talk about fix and flip. Fix and flip is a huge market. The best thing you can find if you want to get a deal on fix and flip is to make sure that you buy things that need more of the lipstick and things like that, the cosmetics on the outside edge more than the bones. So the bones got to be good. Lots of fixers and flippers, they go out there and they try to grab something that needs a ton of work, and then the next thing they know, they spent more money than to build the house the natural way. Getting in there, peeling wallpaper, painting, turning trim white, shining floors, pulling up rugs, replacing flooring, adding nice kitchens, cleaning up bathrooms, maybe putting a roof on the place, possibly a septic system. These are great ways to add value. It's really difficult when you get a fix and flip and you stop pulling the walls open. The next thing you know, you're redoing the electricity, you're redoing the plumbing, you're redoing all these things. So in fix and flip, I always say, know what you're buying, know what you're looking for, and know a little more than the competitor. Don't be that guy out there or woman out there that thinks that they're going to subcontract everything. You're going to have some contractors come give you one bid, and that's going to be okay. Get multiple bids. Make sure you know what you're doing. Do your numbers. Do a worst case scenario number and treat that as the best case scenario and be happy if you win big. Don't go for the big wins. Go for the even wins that you know you can handle. Don't go outside your category. If you're someone who does historic stuff, do historic stuff. If you're not, don't touch it. I would recommend for most people starting off to start off with ranches and colonials because they're fairly easy compared to some of the nuances of other properties. But do make sure you're paying your contractors well and that you're not just bottom lining it, because I can tell you there's a lot of contractors out there that'll throw a very low number on a fix or flip, knowing that once they tear the walls down, they can convince you to spend more money. Fix and flip is a dangerous behavior, but it is a place to make great deals and find a deal in real estate. The other thing is, don't buy a flip. If you're looking out there, flips are always overpriced, in my opinion. Sometimes you'll find a good deal, but most of the time, if you're finding a flip, do not buy it because it's not going to be a deal. Find the one that needs to be flipped and flip it, and you'll make some money in real estate. Another place to look is days on market. A lot of people always look at what's brand new on the market, but I'm telling you to look over 60 days, over 120 days. If you can find something 200-300 days on market, can you imagine what they're willing to do to sell that home? If that person has any willingness to sell the home, they're willing to make a deal. And when we're talking about finding deals in real estate, where to find a better deal than somebody who originally thought their house was worth more money than it is, who has to now not only come down to what market value is, but they actually have to come down below market value because they've detracted so many buyers over the time. Everyone thinks there's something wrong with that house. The reality is a lot of times there's nothing wrong with the house. There's something wrong with the owner and the practices they're using to sell that home. So finding those properties that are 100 plus days on market is a way to find something where not many people are looking at it. They're not getting a lot of showings. They're not getting a lot of offers. So you can actually get yourself out on the sideline and figure out a way that you can make an offer that may be accepted versus somebody else's. 203K loans. This is another place where we can find deals. A lot of people don't really understand 203Ks or rehabs or all these different financings where you're borrowing money for the home and you're borrowing money for the repairs. It's a great way to find something that doesn't fit what exactly you need, but is less money than what you need and has the overall bones or area for what you need. 203K loans and other loans are an available option where you borrow money to buy a home, and then within the same loan, you borrow money to do the repairs. The real estate agents and everyone involved in that end get paid commissions based on the purchase price, not the purchase price plus the repair price, but they are willing to help you in this. You go out, you get a contractor bid for the work to be done, and then you're able to submit that to your bank. Your bank asks a few questions and sends out a questionnaire, make sure that they're licensed and okay with the state, get some referrals, and then they release checks to you to give them up front, and then after they allow a little bit of overruns as far as you can go over the actual original cited price based on maybe some problems with the estimate when you open the walls up, things like that. But getting some home that didn't exactly work, which a lot of times we see these houses, they're broken, they don't work for anybody. These are the perfect 203K candidates. And basically, you end up in a brand new house because you're going to do all this work. You're going to put on an addition. The way they look at these 203Ks, rehabs, and everything, every different category of them has different qualifications. But most of the time, as long as the property appraises at or above what the work would cost plus the purchase price, they're willing to do it. Some of them do have caps and limits on what you can borrow, but there are other loans out there that don't have caps and limits. One thing that I'm going to tell you right here, this very moment, is to find a deal in real estate, sometimes knowing all the different abilities to lend money and how to best utilize them is going to get you a winner. So I would say definitely take a look at finding a great loan officer or having a person who understands finance better than maybe yourself work on figuring out the back ends of how to have creative terms that can make things work that may not have worked before. If you're looking for a great loan officer and you need help with that, all of our agents over here at Movementum Realty have great contacts and they'd be happy to share them with you. The other place that these loans work out great are for strange homes. What do I mean by strange homes? Homes that just don't seem to fit in with the area. Maybe they have a weird architecture. Maybe they just have a strange floor plan. Is there another great place to pull in that 203K or the rehab loans or any of the other construction loans? Change it to what you need. A lot of times these strange homes come on the market and they never sell because people just don't really like them or understand them. These are a place where we can really offer that seller less money because we're willing to buy something off them that isn't selling. A lot of people think the best way to get a home in offering is to get an offer the most money. If you're in an offer situation, trying to get the seller to notice you. You offer the most money, you win. Reality is there's also creative terms. One of the most creative terms thing to find out is if a seller needs to stay somewhere till a certain date, the ability to let them stay there. This most comes into play when you're trying to buy things where people are getting foreclosed on. When people are getting kicked out and they don't have enough time to move out, maybe they want their kids to finish school, maybe their job is still local, maybe some other reason that they need to be there. Finding out that information from them, then taking and doing a situation where you buy it off them and rent back to them, allowing them to stay longer for free rent. All these things may be a way. If you say, okay, I'll give you 3 months free rent, maybe that's only worth $4,500 because it's $1,500 a month, but they're willing to take $6,000 off because of the fact that you're giving them that time. That's an additional $1,500 in your pocket. One thing I want to teach you about finding a deal in real estate is to nickel and dime it. Not to be cheap, but to realize that every $10 and $20 and $10 and $100 that you spend throughout this transaction are right out of the net. They're coming right out of that profit. So when you learn ways to take in more profit through multiple different streams during the entire transaction, from getting great work and quality work that's going to sell for a great price, all the way down to making sure when you're working with the buyer that you are creative on the terms when they're buying it off you, these are all ways to just pull in just a little bit more money to create that great deal. Another thing you can watch out for is up-and-coming areas. A lot of times people want to buy where things are already hot. They want to buy in Boston. They want to buy right next to the commuter rail. They want to buy right where everything is. Pay attention to up-and-coming areas. Pay attention to places where maybe a college might open, a new big business campus that's going to have thousands of employees, a new medical center. Lots of these things are always opening throughout, and people don't realize the economic impact they have on the area. The localized commute to work and the amount of money that's in a localized economy is going to greatly affect the prices of a home. So finding an up-and-coming area, maybe a new college is about to emerge, all these different things, you're able to get in there while prices are still low and really leverage off the fact that they've grown. Now let's flip the switch a little. Let's go into another category, multifamily. Multifamily is a great place if you're not ready yet to buy single family because of maybe some income qualifications. You may be able to find yourself into a multifamily where you end up putting the rent for the other unit into the overall equation of what you can afford with the mortgage pre-approval. Talk to your lender about this one. Sometimes multifamily is available before single family, and you can offset some of your expenses by having that other renter in there. Can't give you advice on whether you qualify or not, but I can tell you should ask the questions. Another one is commercial. Commercial is a great place if you have money already and you have a little bit to buy a strip mall or other things. These buildings are a lot cheaper than residential buildings. They're usually just concrete walls, tin roofs, and very easy floatable floor plans. Whereas single family housing, we have a lot more luxury upgrades and stuff. A lot of times in commercial, it's very basic. So if you can get your hands on a great building that's giving you a return on investment, every single month it's putting off checks that are paying themselves and there's demand to be there, you're going to find that you really have a great deal. Sometimes commercial real estate takes its ups and downs, like right now with the COVID-19 crisis and a lot of businesses being out of business. Make wise decisions on where you buy commercial property, but realize that commercial property pays out the best. I hope this podcast helps you in your real estate dealings in the future and finding a deal. Realize one of the most important things is to have a great team. All of our agents over here at Movementum Realty are known as Move Mentors, and they would love to mentor you on finding a deal in real estate this year. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to PM, DM, call me, whatever works best for you. Make sure to follow this podcast and tell your friends about it. Thanks for listening this week, and we look forward to talking to you next week. Have a great week.